drawing its full attention. It reviewed the last 6 milliseconds of collision avoidance radar data. The threat object was cylindrical, 11.2 millimeters across, moving at 15,000 meters per second on a direct intercept course. Projected impact in 0.7 of a second. A full emergency chemical thruster burn would be necessary to avoid a collision. Blackout protocols stepped in to stop the burn. Projecting such an action would mean an unacceptable risk of detection. After a fraction of a millisecond's consideration, it overrode the protocols. 6 hydrazine thrusters on its ventral surface erupted at once, expelling rapidly dispersing clouds of scorching hot gases that would light up like torches for any passive IR scanners within 10 light minutes in every direction. The thrusters pushed hard to overcome the inertial momentum of its 7 metric tons of mass to move it out of the threat envelope. They were very nearly successful. Its chassis shuddered under the glancing blow, sending shrapnel, electrical surges, and jarring vibrations throughout its internal structures. Fuses snapped open to protect delicate electronic components from burning out as its gyroscopes barked instructions to the thruster array to calm its chaotic spin and maintain station keeping. The violent gyrations came to heel with only 17% of its hydrazine stores left in reserve. It could still maneuver under ion thrusters or warm up its fusion rocket plant, but neither was capable of the short-duration, multi-G acceleration of its chemical rockets necessary for collision avoidance. Nor was that the end of the bad news. Diagnostic reports streamed in from its peripherals. 6 panels of adaptive camouflage were damaged. 2 were still drawing power, but had been cut off from the data network. 2 burst capacitors were offline. The port-side gamma-ray detector was out of calibration. Structural frame members 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 had been compromised. But most importantly, its primary omnidirectional whisker laser gimbal mount was frozen and unable to remain locked on its mother. It had survived, but would need a major overhaul to return to optimum functionality. It began the procedure to bring its secondary whisker laser mount online so it could inform its siblings of the impact and its diminished capabilities. At the same time, it turned an eye toward inspecting the debris cloud left over from the impact. Something about the incident nagged at its logic and pattern recognition software. It knew exactly what it had lost in mass, down to the gram, and knew the chemical makeup of its missing constituents. Armed with this information, it turned a spectrograph toward the expanding junk cloud and scanned the particulates. After accounting for all its own damage and removing it from the analysis, all that remained was approximately 29 grams of an unknown tungsten alloy refined orders of magnitude beyond the purity of any naturally occurring meteorite. A bullet. Its proximity alert tripped again. 3 more threat objects approached, arranged in a perfect triangle, tracking from an identical vector and velocity as the first. It had been boxed in. Any evasive course it could have taken away from the first projectile had led it inexorably into the path of one of the other 3, and with such a paltry volume of chemical propellant left to burn, it couldn't escape a second time. In that nanosecond, it knew what had happened to its lost sibling, and knew it was fated to fall to the same unseen enemy. It had failed to spot the intruder, but there might still be time to get word to Mother and its siblings. With the 0.1 of a second that remained, it warmed up its high-gain radio transmitter, overrode 6 communications blackout and security protocols, dumped all the data and telemetry it had collected in